Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an almost finished Room 111 pain cave, sweatbox, office, studio, chill zone, whatever you want to call it. It's almost finished because I'm so close to putting the roof panels on and just general tidy up, but recent bad weather has revealed a couple of leaky spots which need a bit of attention first, so I'm desperate to do an unveiling video and talk you through the build process and stuff like that, but I think I'm going to have to wait just a little bit longer. I will give you a very quick glimpse around. You'll see I have some essentials in here already, that being the most essential, the espresso machine, coupled with the mini fridge. And in the mini fridge, what do we have in the mini fridge? We have chocolate milk, beer, M&Ms, Go Juice, and some milk that's leaking and causing me massive headaches because I can't stop the bloody thing leaking. Anyway, of course we have the rubber goat mask. Any self-respecting cyclist needs a rubber goat mask in their pain cave. There is my beautiful Cervelo, just relaxing at the moment in preparation for what's going to be a torturous few weeks ahead. You can see I've got so many amazing gifts and memorabilia that in fact, this is a fraction of what I've got to display. I just need to find space for it. There is my workstation where the magic happens. And oh, check this out. This was the latest gift I just received from the wonderful Debbie Allen. She sent me this amazing photo that she took during what I think was the 2014 Tour de France of Jens Voigt putting a particularly good pain face on a climb there. So thank you so much for that, Debbie. Absolutely awesome. I can't wait to get a frame and hang that one properly. Around this side is the less interesting side. It's just where I'm doing some boring grown-up work. And oh, I do have this though. Do you remember this fella? He's not seen an awful lot of love recently. My wonderful Planet X Tempest. Do you know what? It's nearly 2 months since I last rode it. Not since the Pickles 50 on July the 4th, which is ridiculous. And it's not seen any attention at all since then, other than for me to hose off a bit of the remnants from the South Downs Way. Brilliant bike that deserves a better owner than me. Anyway, none of that is actually what I want to talk to you about. What I would like to discuss is the epic new... Hang on, I need to get better light on my face. Hold on. There we go. Is that better? I'm going to sit down as well. I don't need to be standing for this. Right. Get comfortable. Let the waffling begin. Yes, the epic WKG Vive La France. The most ambitious event we've taken on. Might be stupid. It might prove to be the best thing that's ever happened to indoor cycling. We shall see very soon. It's a 3-week, 21-stage race using magic roads on RGT to recreate some of the most iconic and brutal cycling routes in France. And epic is the only word I can think to describe it. It's a mega undertaking for anybody that looks to take this on. In simple, we have 3 competitions, the general, the flat and the mountain. Each stage comprises 4 race times to try and accommodate as many different time zones as we possibly can. There is one at 00:30, 06:30, 12:30 and 18:30 if memory serves. All those times are British summertime. The earliest one, the 00:30, that equates to, in most American time zones, sort of early evening. So that's the main reason for that one. So in actual fact, it's the early evening the previous day. So not only have we created this event, we've actually developed time travel. So the Americans and anyone within those time zones will actually be starting the event the day before everyone else. Anyway, as with most stage races, your finishing position is determined by your accumulated time over the course of the 21 stages. However, one of the mega brains at WKG behind the scenes has devised a brilliant formula for keeping it interesting for anyone, including myself, that's going to really struggle to do all 21 stages. For whatever reason, if you miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages, whatever, you're still in the competition. He's basically done a formula that puts a value on every metre you ride based on that's elevation. If you see me doing that, that's my reference to elevation. So a metre at that angle is worth more than a metre at that angle. This does a couple of things. It means if you're in a competition and you've ridden exactly the same distance as X rider, but 5 of your kilometres were slightly steeper, you will jump ahead of that rider in the standings. So it keeps the competition alive all the way up and down the field. The other thing it does it discourages from missing out some of the easier stages. So to achieve the same distance, you could quite easily argue that, well, I won't do that 30-kilometre race because it's all uphill. I'll do that 30-kilometre race that's nice and flat. They have different values in terms of sorting out the order. So we got it covered. Essentially, it's how quickly you achieve the same amount of effort that puts you above or below your rivals. So that's the general competition. All pretty straightforward, I think. My brain actually hurts trying to get my head around that, and I can smell a slight burning while I try and describe it. Flat competition and mountain competitions are both points based. There are 8 stages for each of those competitions. Again, 4 race slots for each of those stages. Your points will be determined by your finishing position on the stage, not your race slot. Again, as an example, if you chose to do one of the less populated race slots, let's say the 0030 race slot, only 10 people enter and you manage to pick up 3rd place, you don't get points for 3rd place if your time is slower than the guy that did the 1830 race and only came 35th. All the times will be amalgamated. Your time will give you a position at the end of that day, and your points allocated to where you sit within those times. Again, I think I'm explaining things you probably already know, and I hope I'm explaining it clearly. So that's how the points work. The actual point structure will be descending order from the top 30 finishers, and then anybody outside of the top 30 will get a single point for completing that stage. In addition to the racing, we also have ZMS on board, who are going to provide their brilliant streams for every single stage, I believe. I don't think we can cover every race because, again, 4 time slots for every stage. That's a lot of streaming over a 21-day period. But we look to get at least one race from every stage covered, and we're putting together a brilliant commentary team, which is particularly exciting for me. I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys can come up with. I may get dragged into doing a bit of commentary on some of them myself, and we'll look to draft in some guest appearances, I think, from around the WKG and the RGT world and any other virtual teams that are taking part. If we can get guests to come on, that would be absolutely brilliant. But there'll be lots of data, lots of information, and some real entertainment, so look out for those. In addition, we will also be including as many of the stages as possible on future WhatsApp vlogs. We will also update the leaderboards at the end of each stage for all 3 competitions with the point scorers and the overall times. We'll try and highlight, obviously, stage winners and any particularly brilliant performances. And on that note, we actually will also throw in a couple of WKG prizes at certain stages. I'm not going to base it on just performance, because the likelihood is then you're going to have the same handful of riders that are able to pick up the prizes. So the criteria will change. Could be a particularly witty comment or a Herculean effort on a particular part of a race. Anyway, I'm just going to wing that, make it up as I go along. But there will be a few real world prizes sent out to a few lucky people, so keep an eye out for that. And in terms of the race structure, I think that's pretty much everything you need to know. 3 weeks, 21 stages, some up, some flat, some upper than up. Stage 15 in particular. I'm actually already scared about that one. That's an absolute monster. So anyway, why are we doing this on RGT as opposed to some other platforms? A couple of very simple reasons. The first one, and I touched on it earlier, is the Magic Roads, which is an absolute game changer. Basically, by providing a GPX file that we've sort of tweaked and smoothed out so it works beautifully with the software, RGT have managed to recreate basically any road we like, meaning we can tailor make this event exactly how we want it in terms of total distance, elevation, and picking routes that we know have significance in the history of French cycling and will be familiar to a lot of people. So extremely excited about that. The latest update to Magic Roads throws in some really nice scenery and just works brilliantly. Secondly, and this isn't a dig at any other platform, but in the last months, in fact, it's been increasingly difficult to schedule any events on Zwift outside of the existing time windows that we already have reserved for us. And I know this is down to demand and their own capacity to accommodate all of this, but maybe I'm being oversensitive, but there's just been a sense of playing second fiddle as a small community team to obviously their paid and sponsored events. I can completely understand the logic behind that. They're a business at the end of the day. Someone's got to get paid at some point. Absolutely fine. But that doesn't actually help me to create events. I've been banging my head against a brick wall, which is why we've not added new events to Zwift in a long time. We've literally been stuck to our existing time windows. And that does scare me in terms of arranging the WK Winter League as well, which obviously is quite a unique structure, which Zwift have previously accommodated, and I'm hoping will do again. We're not moving away from Zwift. I love Zwift. Both RGT and Zwift have pros and cons, and this isn't a comparison video by any way, shape or form. It's just that for this particular event, RGT were incredibly accommodating in as much as, like I say, I create a route with a GPX file, go onto the mobile app, set up an event, boom, it's done. I can then share that. RGT actually have even been involved in helping to share the events and to promote them, so they've been very hands-on, which has been greatly appreciated. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, the racing dynamics. It might very much be down to personal preference, but we've recently been doing the Friday night races on RGT, and I love the racing dynamic, the drafting, the braking, and for me in particular, the climbing feel. It just seems to have sort of moved on a level from what I'm used to. Absolutely spot on. So I'm really looking forward to using that in a more structured event. So that's why RGT, and that's about everything you need to know about it. I think I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. If you do have any questions at all, obviously feel free to put your comments below. I will do my best to answer them as quickly and as accurately as I can. Please look out for future posts where I will break down the point structure more specifically and try and highlight some key stages that you definitely don't want to miss. But for now, I think that's all I need to babble on about. Hope to see you on the start line 29th of August.
It's alright.